I'm on my second guest of the evening, Lou Pimber. How you doing, Lou?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Craig?
Yeah, I'm having a great day. Well, apart from my obvious sad news that I think most of our listeners heard earlier on, but we're having a lovely warm day here on the marsh. We've had a very, very extended summer. It seems to be going this week. We're up to about 28, 29 in the next couple of days, and that's the new money. I think that's about 80-something in Fahrenheit, but that's unusual. We're making the most of it.
That's great. It's actually cooled off a bit out here where I'm at, so I'm kind of thankful for that as well.
So where you...
And I got to say, I'm sorry for your loss. I understand you recently lost a good friend.
Yes, it's just last night. Actually, just a year older than me, who I grew up in the same town, and we played in the same sports teams, and he was a musician as well, and I used to go and watch him play. It was quite a shock.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, good friends are hard to come by.
They are. I'm lucky to have quite a few, and I'm very, very lucky position to be in. Now, whereabouts are you based now, Lou?
Well, you said where am I based out of?
Yeah.
I'm actually, I reside in Arizona.
Yeah.
Which is out in the southwest.
Yes, I've been to Arizona.
That's where I'm at.
Now, how did you get into acting?
You know, it was an interesting path. It wasn't something that I had sort of sought out for myself. I've always had a curiosity for it, like most people probably do, but it was an unfortunate event that happened in my life. I spent most of my adult life working in law enforcement. I was an undercover officer with a HIDA task force, and I got hurt on the job, and I realized that I still had a lot left in me, and I had to medically retire out, and I was forced with either, you know, I had to look on the bright side and had to kind of, as I said, reinvent myself, and an opportunity kind of presented itself one day with a gentleman from Mexico shooting a project in the U.S. for a cable network out of Mexico. And he asked me to technically advise on his movie, and I said, yeah, I'd love to. And it was interesting because I was so far removed from that industry, but it sort of led me in that direction, you know, and you just have to maintain that positive attitude, and eventually, the law of attraction works, and it brings you into that setting.
And that's led to lots of things, including television as well.
It has. It's led me to television, a number of independent films, yes.
So just tell us a little bit, our listeners here, some of the films you've been in and some of the television. I know about Breaking Bad.
Yes, and on Sunday I actually got a phone call from them to go to their end of series party in Hollywood.
How did that all come about, getting involved in that project?
You know, it was, again, I'm such a believer in the law of attraction. You know, you have to just bring it to yourself. You know, after I produced a short film called Duress, D-U-R-E-S-S, Duress, I shot it with the idea of writing my own show. And I have the pilot show ready to go now. I finally completed it. But after I shot that, I realized I really love acting, and that eventually led me to seeking out an agent. I was referred to this agent by someone out of Los Angeles, and that agent was who eventually presented me the opportunity to try out for the show. And that's how I came upon getting a reoccurring role on Breaking Bad. I was fortunate to be on 2 episodes.
Wow, that was quite well done by the agent. Now, the short films and stuff, you're still writing? I know you've got that one going. Is there any new projects you've got lined up?
Well, I just actually, along with my team, finished writing my own television show. It's loosely based on my life as an undercover agent with the drug task force, but really it's meant to showcase the talents of these guys who are out there working, doing this job every day.
Yeah.
But it's meant to show the good, the bad, and the ugly in that whole underworld that I lived in for many years.
And so is that a pilot at the moment, or the series is written?
At the moment, it's written. It's on paper. It sits here. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at it right now. It's sitting. Yeah, and I have other things pending so that I can get it out to the right people and the right decision makers. You know, and I recently, actually, matter of fact, last night, met with a good friend of mine. His name is Rick Lobato, and he actually talked to me about a project that him and his brother have going on, and perhaps I may be able to assist him with that project using my expertise and making this pilot that's currently being shot, hopefully making it a success.
Well, the 16 films, a TV series, not just all you do, because I know you do motivational speaking. You know, is that putting something back?
I do. I love speaking in front of especially youth out there because, you know, many are just don't have a direction or perhaps just fell off the whatever path they were on or they were dealt a bad card. And my message to them is really simple is, look, you can't let your past experience be an indicator of your future experience, you know? You can't live in the past. You have to move forward. Recognize that it happened and you just move on. And I use myself as an example. With my unfortunate incident, you know, in my career-ending injuries, that led me to have to drive on and move forward
and reinvent yourself. So, what's next on the horizon for you? It sounds very, very busy. Is there anything you've really fancy doing that you've not perhaps done yet?
You know, I really want to revisit this idea of that was presented to me of going to Los Angeles and technically advising on a project that's currently underway. Yeah. The people that are in that show are very talented, and I'm a kind of an admirer of some of the talent in that show. I'm also working on a short film. It's meant to highlight the effects of post-traumatic stress in our soldiers that are serving overseas and abroad. And I play the lead character named Dean in it, who's a soldier who's been away for a number of tours. And he comes home to his family, and sort of it kind of highlights that. I also did a public service announcement for the veterans. It was actually called Rally Point, Arizona, to help bring awareness to post-traumatic stress and things like that. And I'm just looking forward to a couple of the movies I just did, some independent films that I did, feature films. One is called The Feed, the other one's called Wastelander. It's interesting sci-fi, post-apocalyptic type films. And really, my biggest joy is just being a dad. You know, I have my son. He's with me every single day, and that's my why. You know, as part of my message when I speak to youth, I have to teach them to identify with their why.
Yeah. How old is your son?
My son is 13 years old.
Oh, good. Now, our listeners here, if they want to see some of your work, how can they do so?
You know, they can probably go to loupimber.com, L-O-U, Pimber, P-I-M-B-E-R. They can see some samples of some of my work on there. My bio is also located right there. They can find me on Facebook in the Lou Pimber. And if they want to take a look at Duress, it's on Facebook. Just look up Duress, the movie, on Facebook. And it's a good little short film that actually won at the Phoenix Film Festival.
Oh, great. What's Duress about?
Duress is just a short glimpse into the life of an undercover agent. I play the bad guy in it. And it's just a bad day for this guy, you know, and he's got to make some decisions.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, thank you very, very much for coming on the program, and good luck to everything you do.
I thank you for having me. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much.
No, it's our pleasure. And that's Lou Pimber, our final guest of the evening, although we have got the weather forecast from Finland, not to forget. But you can't miss that with the lovely Marie at